All right, everybody, welcome. This is a really good turnout. I'm excited about that. What we are going to do today is to cover some basic things that CDEC wanted covered, and then we'll handle some things that we think you might need some clarification on, and then we're going to open it up for anyone else who has any questions. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Noreen Landis Tyson. I am a consultant for JI, serving as the UPK program manager. With us from JI also is Heather Mayhew, who is our senior family resource navigator, and Carolina Garcia, who is our family resource navigator, who is bilingual. Okay, let's get started. These first two slides are required by CDEC. It is an accessibility statement. By the way, all of these slides are actually posted at this point on JI's UPK page. So with active links, so as you see links in what we're talking about today, you can pull down the slides from the JI page and you can access those links that way. They are already up. So feel free to look at the accessibility statement online, and we're going to go ahead and move on. So our agenda today is there's going to be some reminders about four-year-old payments, about provider agreements, and about supplemental hours. Then we're going to talk about the 25-26 calendar submission. We're going to briefly talk about three-year-old funding and payments because that only applies to school districts and their contracted partners. Preliminary timelines for 26, 27, and please, as we go through those, remember that these are preliminary. They are not etched in stone yet. I have put some this month's FAQs up of just based on the questions that I'm getting. I'm sure there's others that we could probably add to this, but I think this will be a good start. Office hours and roundtables, excuse me, and then provider resources. And then we will open it up for any additional questions that you have. So let's go to payments first. The four-year-old preschool services funding and payments operation memo is linked here. That talks about the payment schedule and the other things that you may need to know about troubleshooting payments, etc. So happy to answer any of your questions that you may have, but the best place for you to go first is this four-year-old preschool services funding and payments operation memo. It is also linked and up on the JI page for you. These are reminders. I think these are things you already know. Providers must be licensed by CDEC to deliver program services to eligible children and must have a signed universal preschool provider agreement with CDEC. CDEC will not make provider payments for services provided before the agreement is executed. Providers must enroll eligible children in their preschool program to qualify as participating providers, and providers must complete an enrollment form and have children enrolled via the application portal will be eligible for payment. So, any of you who have been doing this for a while, none of this should be new to you. And those of you who are beginning to enroll with us now, these are just reminders for you as we have already talked about. Provider agreements, if you haven't already, please submit your 25-26 Colorado Universal Preschool Program provider interest form. To the best of my knowledge, all of our folks have done that, except for potentially some new ones that we are bringing on right now. But even those, I think, are done and in the process of being reviewed. The submission of the Google form is required for all providers. And if you're struggling with the submission of this form because you can't upload documents or because you're having any other issues, Elizabeth Wallace in the procurement department of the state is your contact, and the email address is her. And of course, it says please reach out to us if you have any questions. And so we can be the first point of contact with you, but ultimately, if we can't solve the issue, we're going to refer you to the state or Elizabeth. So again, not something the folks on this call need to worry about at this point. Supplemental hours information. This has been a little bit of a challenge in that the state for a while has had some glitches in the download of the supplemental hours Excel sheet. So they are saying that an email with these details and visuals for reference will be sent out to all providers. But I think everything you need to know is going to be in these next three slides. So we're going to go through them. There is a report that you can download from your portal that talks about children's eligibility for supplemental hours. And you want to make sure first that you're in the correct program year, 25-26. And then you're going to go to the matched tab in your portal and you're going to filter whatever location you need to filter to if you have more than one. And so if you don't select any filters, it will show the students in all statuses. But when downloaded, it will show only students in three statuses, which is selected, accepted, and matched, which is fine for you because that's probably all you need to know at this point. So if you want to only download the accepted students, there's a method here to do that. And again, these are already posted, so you can follow that. And if you want to pull only enrolled students, there are two methods, and both of which are here for you. Excuse me. So let's talk about what you're going to see when you download that. So here's a note that the state put in here that your download will be titled something similar to matched month, day, year with a timestamp indicating the date and time you pulled this report. And of course, you may need to expand some columns. So if you're at all familiar with Excel, you know that columns can easily be expanded so that you can see all of the information that you need. This is also a reminder that if there is a new application submitted or there is an application eligibility redetermination that has been submitted to the state, that the process can take 4 to 6 weeks because it is manual. That's frustrating to families. I get that, but we have no control over that, and patience is the name of the game here. So the reports column that you will see, you'll see a column P, which is the child's soft eligibility. And these are hours per week or HPW. And this indicates what a family will likely qualify for based on what they submitted in their UPK application. These are not hours that have been verified or awarded. And the column will either say 15 HPW or 30 HPW. And column Q is the family supplemental awards hours awarded. This states either yes, 30 HPW awarded, which means supplemental hours have been awarded, and this family qualifies for supplemental hours, or no, standard HPW awarded, which means the family qualifies for 15 hours per week. To be determined means this application has not yet been reviewed for supplemental hours. And then in column R, it tells you the date that those hours were awarded. Again, if you end up having any questions about this as you download it, or you are not seeing the same thing that the state is telling you is available to you, you should reach out to us and we'll give you a hand. Okay, 3-year-old funding and payments. So as a reminder, I know many of you on this call are new, so I'm going to back up a little bit here. 3-year-old funding is only goes to school districts, and this is based on historical allotment for 3-year-olds. School districts can choose to contract with community providers to serve 3-year-olds, but that is completely up to the school district. So those of you who are serving 3-year-olds as a private provider, that's great. They are full tuition. Nicole, would you mind muting, please? This is full tuition for you guys and for 3-year-olds. And again, if you're interested in talking with your school district about whether or not they would be interested in contracting with you, that's up to you. And of course, as I said, it is completely up to the school district. All right, let's move on to calendar submission. We have had some interesting questions around this, and this is brand new. So everybody has to submit a universal preschool calendar for the 25-26 school year, and this will be required moving forward for every year. So get used to it. The purpose of this submission from the state says verification of weekly hours provided to families, verification of annual hourly requirements for UPK. It will clearly define which hours of service are not allowable to charge families, which are the UPK hours, and also delineate the permissible hours for you to be able to charge families, and will be a resource for the CCAP team to reference for stacking funding. This year, funding stacking will only happen
No,
with
Michael, I did.
Crystal. Could you please mute? Thank you. Funding stacking will only happen with CCAP for families that are eligible for 30 hours and enrolled in a full day program. No one else at this point will be submitted to stacking. You can see here that there is a link to submit your calendar, and there are a couple of options available in terms of how you do this. Please do not send your calendar to us. We can't do anything with it. It needs to go to this submission link, and at least the initial deadline is September the 15th. So you can choose a default calendar as your official UPK calendar, and all of those are in the calendar memo, which is on the JIUPK page, and it shows all of the templates in there that you could possibly use. You would define the typical hours each day designated to UPK. So I've had some questions from school districts in particular, but others that have differing hours per school. And do they have to submit a calendar for each one of the schools? And the answer is no. As you can see here, you want to submit one calendar for your Part Day AM and Part Day PM calendar. And then you're going to say, in general, our hours for UPK are 8 to 11 or 8:30 to 11:30 or whatever they are. And then the same thing for the PM calendar, and you're going to submit those in the same calendar. Then if you have a full day calendar, you will submit a full day calendar separately from the part day calendar. And then you will go ahead and state what the average hours or typical hours are for a full day program. So you don't have to submit a calendar for every program that you have for every center that you have if you have more than one center. The other thing you can choose to do, rather than choosing a calendar, a template, is you can answer the questions in the submission form. Your start and end dates, the number of hours per day in general as awarded to families with start and end times, and all days off where no provided services will be offered. Again, as I said, it's due September 15th, and please reach out to us if you need further support. And the state says that they will not be holding office hours on calendar submissions, but will message the opportunity to submit any further clarifications to this partner question submission form. Again, the link is in the slides that are already posted, and we will continually update the FAQ with responses to those submissions. All right, let's move on. So I want to talk about the preliminary timeline for non-IEP families for 26-27. This is not published anywhere yet. It is still in draft form. I would like to say that I'm pretty excited that CDEC reached out to the LCOs and asked us for feedback on their proposed schedule, which we have given them bunches of feedback. Some of this may change, but in general, this is where we are right now for your planning purposes. October 13th through November 7th, providers will submit their program setup form for 26-27. So start thinking about that. It's not that far off. December 15th, registration opens for all families for the 26-27 year. December 15th through February 2nd, pre-registration will occur. And these are for children who are already attending with you, if they have a sibling attending with you, or they are a child of an employee with you. They have the opportunity at that time to submit their application, and provided that you are recognizing any or all of those qualifications, then they will be placed with you directly in the seats that you have opened up. On February 9th, the first matching round for those who were not placed during pre-registration occurs. That's when the algorithm is run. The state takes a couple of days to take a look at the outcome of the algorithm and make sure that everything has been done right and clean it up before they publish it to providers. So they publish to providers on the 11th, and they're giving 11th to the 27th for providers to review their matches. And you will have the opportunity at this point to decline matches if you have an approved reason to do that. And that is based on your setup form and the questions the answers that you provide to the questions that they ask. February 28th, families are notified of proposed matches and either accept or decline. On March 9th, there is a second matching round for those who do not have matches and for new applicants. And March 11th through the 24th, families notified of proposed matches and either accept or decline. And then the date that is being looked at to go to direct enrollment for the rest of the year is April the 6th. So this is not that different from what we did this year, but there may be a couple of changes based on some feedback, but this is more or less what it looks like. Okay, this month's FAQs. So I did my own calendar. Where can I upload it? Yeah, can't. CDEC is not providing you an opportunity to upload your own calendar. And so you either have to choose a template that they are providing, or you have to answer the questions in the submission form. And you must submit your calendar in the submission form provided, the submission form link provided. Where do I submit my attendance? I have gotten this a lot, which I think is kind of interesting. But while providers are required to keep attendance records, they are not submitted to CDEC unless they are for some other reason. Payment is based on enrollment on the first of the month, so September 1st for August, for payment on the 15th of September for August, and then that pattern goes through for the rest of the school year. You must keep attendance. You are not sending it anywhere unless requested. What do I do if I have a child in selected status and I can't reach the family? You reach out to one of the staff at JI and we will withdraw the child from selected status with you. If you don't have any seats, you can decline the family stating that you have no gen ed seats. And you should be doing that whether or not you can reach out to them. If you don't have any seats, the minute a child goes into selected status, you should be declining them if you don't have any seats in that particular program. I'm having trouble logging into my UPK portal. What do I do? First, you be sure that you are using the email that you used to create your account. If you're not sure what that is or you still can't get in, you're going to reach out to me and we will confirm the email that you should be using and send you a temporary link. You're going to use that link to access your portal, and before signing out, either change your password or your two-factor authentication, whatever it is that you think is causing the issue. Then you're going to log all of the way out and start over again to try and log in and see if it is fixed. If you still can't get in, then call me and we will submit a ticket to the state fix-it team, as I call it. And then, can I increase my own seats in my portal? Yes, you can. Your seats, you can increase your seats using the instructions in the provider handbook, but you cannot decrease your seats in the portal. And remember that you are not permitted to increase your seats by more than 15% on your own without permission from CDEC. And if you plan to do that, contact me first. And to decrease your seats, you're going to contact me. Now, you may be asking, why can I not increase my seats more than 15% on my own without CDEC approval? The reason for that is because there have been providers that have tried to get around the matching situation and equitable access by only putting in to begin with the number of seats that they have for the number of kids that are returning with them. And then after all of the matching is done, then they increase their seats and they go back and pick and choose the people that they want to get into the seats with them. That undermines equitable access. And so that's what the state is trying to avoid. They want you to offer the number of seats that you have when you begin with. There is the pre-registration opportunity for your families that fall into that category, and then they would like those other seats to be made available to through matching, so that other families have an equitable access to be able to get a seat with you if that's their first choice. So that's the reason why. All right. Um, Office hours and roundtable reminders. So there's community provider office hours are the first Tuesday of each month at 6 p.m. These are state office hours, and here is the meeting link. School district office hours are the third Thursday of the month at 4 o'clock, and here's the meeting link. AU office hours are every 2 weeks from August 12th to October 28th at 3 o'clock p.m. And the meeting link is here. And then we are standardizing JI roundtables. They're the first Thursday of the month at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock p.m. And as you've already found out, here is the meeting link. And these are some of the resources that the state has put up for you. Remember that the provider handbook is your friend. It has lots and lots of information about in there about how to do certain things. There is a UPK family handbook also, which you can certainly make available to families should you choose to. You can submit a help desk ticket to the state help desk or to us at upk@jointinitiatives.org. Um, Provider questions for office hours should be submitted in advance. They like to be prepared to discuss whatever it is you would like to discuss. And then there is the CDEC website and the Colorado Universal Preschool newsletter. Sign up for updates or to access your subscriber preferences. And then if you have a payment issue, this is where you submit a ticket. All right, so with that in mind, I'm going to stop sharing and let's talk about any questions or comments that you may have.
In the chat box, Noreen,
Uh-huh.
Shayna asked, what is the website to submit to? I'm not sure what Shayna's talking about for which website. So
Shana,
Shayna,
Shana, which website are you trying to access? Okay. We'll wait to see if we hear back for you with clarification, but I can assure you that just about everything that you need is, wait a minute, what is the rate for 3-year-old payment submissions? I do not know, Barb, but let me get back to that in a minute. Oh, the calendar, but you figured it out. Great, that's great. Okay, there is the 3-year-old memo is published, and that is all of the information that I have. So if there is anything else you need, you would want to submit your question to the folks at the state based on who is on that 3-year-old memo. Sorry, I can't help you with that. And I do
um,
believe it varies per school district.
mhm.
What
So
else?
Karen asked about, and this was not on the slide, providers for round one are getting a review period, but for round two, it did not say they were going to get a review period after the round ran. So she's wondering, when do providers get round two matches, and is there going to be a review period for them?
Okay, 2 days after the algorithm is run, You will get the new matches, and you will have a certain period of time to be able to review those. It's probably going to be about 10 days, just like with the first one. Um, okay, let's see. Can someone put the links in the chat, please? They aren't clickable on the slides. Okay, that's a problem. Uh, um, hmm. All right, I'll figure out how to fix that, but we want to make sure that they're available to all, even the people who are reading or who are watching the recording, and putting them in the chat will not take care of that issue. So we have to figure out another way to get that done. So we'll let you know. I saw a hand up.
Me.
Okay, what can I do for you?
I want to know two questions. One, do you answer questions regarding metrics? Because I couldn't download my W9.
No. Any questions for metrics have to go to Metrics IQ. And it is COUPK payments at metricsiq.com.
Payments at metricsiq.com. Okay. And the other one is actually no questions. I need to reduce my capacity. No,
Mhm.
I mean, I have just one more spot and I want to reduce it because I can't do it from here.
So you want to decrease the number of seats
Yeah.
that you have?
Yes.
So in the slides that we just talked about, any request to decrease seats has to come to me. Okay?
Yeah, so I am requesting you.
You can't. You have to send it to me via email, and you
Oh,
have to tell me what program and how many seats you want to decrease it to. I have to
okay.
have it in writing.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Who else?
Hazel Wallace asked in the chat if a family is enrolled in a half-day seat and gets awarded 30 hours, how are we able to change their enrollment status?
So, if you have a full day program, okay, then we want to move them to your full day program, because in order for them to take advantage of 30 hours per week, they have to be in a full or extended day program. If you do not have a full day program, but you are willing to keep that child for the 30 hours, then you have to contact me to set you up with a full day program. So I have to submit that to the state so that we can publish a full day program for you. And then we will move the child over to the full day program, and they will be able to be eligible for 30 hours at that point.
Okay, because we do already have a full day program, so I just didn't know if we contact you to get them switched over because they're already enrolled in our half day.
Yes.
See, okay.
Yes. And it doesn't just have to be me. It could be Heather or Carlina.
Okay.
Um, but you have to submit it to one of us in order to get the child moved. If you want to set up a new program, and which I understand is not, Hazel, what you need, but if any of you need to set up a new program, that you need to submit to me. Other questions?
Sarah Brown had one. Any new updated on the resource bank on PDIS? Some of the links don't work.
Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? They are so far behind on this resource bank, it's not even funny. So, no, I have no updates. I would imagine that they're going to be coming within the next 2 to 3 months. It's a different group of people that are working on the resource bank than are the ones that are doing the logistics for UPK. And yeah, I wish I could give you more information, but what's up there is what I've got. Other questions?
Hazel said if a family is enrolled, do you need to ask that again, Hazel? Or did you get your answer?
Oh no, I got my answer. I only
Okay.
asked the one time. I don't know if it was
Okay.
submitted. Okay.
You're fine. You're good. So I don't see any other questions in the chat box, Noreen.
Okay, so just in preparation for your first payment, if you did not apply for and was approved for an August payment, just in preparation for your first payment for August that comes in September, on September 15th. First of all, I would not suggest that you assume that the minute you open up your bank account on the morning of the 15th that it's going to be there. I think I would at least give it the full day before you decide that there's an issue. If there is an issue, I wish we could help you, but we cannot. It is Metrics IQ and Metrics IQ only. So that link that I provided you in the chat, which is COUPK payments at metricsiq.com, is where you have to go to submit any kind of an issue with payment. You're free to talk to us and complain, but I don't even have access to the overall payment files to be able to see what you're seeing. So your payment report can be pulled down in Metrics Enroll, which you all should have access to that account. That's where you had to update any and all of your payment information, submit your W-9, et cetera, et cetera. So you should have access to that account. If you are having any issues accessing that account, you must submit a help desk ticket to Metrics IQ. They are the only ones that can help you. Okay? There are going to be some reconciliation payments throughout the years for certain situations that come up. Again, if you need reconciliation for a child, so let me give you an example. Let's say in August, a child attended with you for the first 2 weeks and then moved to someone else for the next 2 weeks. It is likely that the first provider will not be paid for those 2 weeks and that the second provider will. And so the first provider is likely to need to submit a reconciliation request to say, hey, I served this child for the first 2 weeks and I didn't get paid for them. Um, and so you're going to have to submit the reconciliation request, giving them all of the information that they need. You're probably also going to have to submit attendance records for those 2 weeks in order for you to get paid. So again, any and all of those payment questions must go to Metrics IQ. Any other questions at this point? Any other comments?
I did ask Barb if she went to the slides on the web page, and she's going to go there after the meeting. So the
Okay,
links, and I said the links aren't active at that point to let you know, but
right,
that's where they're going to be located on our slides on the JI webpage.
right. And I do believe that Angela, who posted them, actually checked the links, so they should be good. The links in PowerPoint that we're putting up there are never going to be active. So it's the ones that are, that's why we posted it before we even started today, so that you could look at those and hopefully the links will be active. Okay, anything else? Any concerns that you have that we didn't cover? Anything you'd like to see done differently in the timelines for 26, 27 while they're still being looked at? Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that everybody seems to be in the know at this point. Heather, you can stop the recording.